Hello, everybody. Hello, hello. I'm just gonna try to check if someone might be joining live. This time I'm gonna try a different thing to see if I can see people live. See if that's gonna work. Ah, yes, perfect. Finally can see that. Wonderful. I know the timing might be a little bit difficult for some of you to get here live, so I'm considering to change it maybe, because I would like that to be a weekly thing. So maybe I'll drop some options in the poll to see where is everyone available. But today I'm just gonna record it at this hour, and I wanted to have a chat today about something that's on my mind and on my tongue quite a lot throughout the week. Well, first of all, I wanted to ask how you're all doing, and just a quick check-in. Have you set your intention this Monday when I gently invite you to do? And if that's the case, maybe drop in the chat. How are you going with your intention? No judgment whatsoever. It's just about noticing. Because today's conversation is about noticing, is about acknowledging yourself, not for your achievements, but just for showing up and for just being you. So this is something that you may have heard me speaking quite a few times, and today I wanted to zoom into it. The reason is that, myself included, in the past, most of us struggle to answer that question. Most of us struggle to answer the question, what can I acknowledge myself for? And that's okay, because that's not something that maybe we have learned to do on a day-to-day basis. But that's exactly why we're here, to learn. And I wanted to share something with you. Last night I went to see Mel Robbins. So Mel Robbins, I have followed her for a few years before she became super famous with Let Them. So there is a story for another day of how, like, the importance of Mel Robbins in my life. But I wanted to share one moment with you in particular from her show yesterday live. At the end of it, there was a huge room with lots of people there. I went there by myself. I didn't have somebody to go with and sit next to. We had an exercise to do. We had an exercise to write our wildest dreams. We called it the wild card. Write it, and then so initially we ripped the paper out of the notebook, wrote it, and then she said fold it. And once you folded it, I want you to swap it with the person next to you. And then maybe swap it again. So I ended up swapping it 5 times because there were people who were struggling. They were especially, I think, a bit unsure to swap it with somebody they know, so they were happily swapping it with someone, or swapping it with someone they don't know. And once it's all settled, Mel said, can you open the notes now and read them to yourself, and then place the note to your heart and send your wholehearted energy towards that message of that person. Send all of your energy to make it come true. And it was very powerful, and it was very beautiful. And something that really struck me was the fact of how easy it was to do. Why? Because that was pure acknowledgement of the importance of the other person. Somebody, I don't even know who that was, because that message came to me from someone. So that was a pure acknowledgement without any doubt jumping in. And today I would like us to talk about it. The acknowledgement, putting the doubt aside, and the hidden power of the self-acknowledgement that we can get access very quickly to. Because the truth is, we track everything, don't we? Our to-do lists, things that other people also do. And we quite often do not track ourselves, or we do, but in a way that, have I done this, where I'm up to? So there is about that measurement, what I have not yet done. But how often do we track ourselves for our small things? And that's the thing, when we self-acknowledge, quite often the comment I hear back, or maybe a little bit of uncertainty, is, well, it's a bit weird, it's a bit vain, and it's understandable that it might come across this way. But here's the thing. I would like you to consider that self-acknowledgement is not a vanity. Self-acknowledgement is data. It's essentially us gathering information on what am I doing well? What am I doing well? It's the feedback. And noticing ourselves, learning to build that awareness, is our first step toward kindness. Because awareness is the first step towards kindness. Awareness is when we are looking at the situation, maybe noticing the judgment, but allowing ourselves to put judgment and doubts for the side. And that's your first step towards kindness. And this is why I look at it as the hidden superpower. Because that's your kindness right there. You're aware. And then if we put this acknowledgement on top, you're also giving yourself that gentle praise. And I want you to consider this, as I often say, self-acknowledgement is like money left on the table. We have it right there. That energetic charge is right there. Your emotional coins. But we do not take it. Maybe one other example that I quite often use in my sessions is, if you have ever played a video game, for example, Mario Brothers, whether it's current version, I only remember the old version, any game where the player needs to go between things, maybe some obstacles, and you have a chance to just finish the track, but then you have all those bonus coins and objects that if you go this way, you collect it, you collect it, you collect it. So this is how maybe it might be helpful to look at self-acknowledgement. Your self-acknowledgement is those bonus points, because you are already moving along, you're already doing the thing, like you already did the thing. Give yourself credit, give yourself credit, give yourself credit, give yourself credit. And that credit does not go nowhere. It goes straight into your emotional capacity. Or sometimes I call it as a thriving piggy bank, whatever you want to call it. But consider it your energy. It's your energy that is right there. Like the moment you acknowledge yourself, that's it. You collect it, as simple as that. And why is that important? Like, why is that important to have that extra energy? Well, think about it again. How many of us feel quite tired? Or even if you don't feel like tired, you feel, well, maybe my to-do list is a bit longer. Or you would like to put some more time towards something. We are always either short on time or energy or both. Well, consider this. If you have more energy, you are more productive, right? You will have so that helps you to gain the time. If you have more energy, you can enjoy things more. So this is unspoken truths. Well, here how I also invite you to look at it. Why energy is so important? Because your to-do list, even including things you like to do, the whole action of doing it is your output. It's your output. You are taking that energy from your bank, from your capacity. What do we need to do? We need to replenish it. Where is your input? Your self-care, and self-care I use in a broader terms. It's your taking care of yourself, both physically, mentally, emotionally. That is your input. And your self-acknowledgement is that bonus points, or that money on the table that can go straight into your input. It can fit straight into it. If you still answer, so here's the way that we can use it, right? So we understand acknowledgement is important. If you're still doubtful, why is acknowledging myself is important compared towards other people? Well, firstly, I want you to consider this analogy. And we all have something or someone that we may take care of right now, or maybe in the past. Maybe it could be a person, could be a pet, could be a plant. And some of the, no matter what it is or who it is, there is always at least a minimum set of things that you need to do to look after them. Because it's not gonna grow, or it's not gonna heal, or it's not gonna learn anything. And today I had a particular discussion with a beautiful client of mine, and we had a chat, and I used an analogy of gardening. Because if we look at ourselves as another plant that we are in charge of growing or looking after, you can have all these great ideas of, well, maybe I can shift the garden bed, maybe I can build a greenhouse, maybe I can put these fancy fertilizers or do this or do that. But nothing's gonna work unless you maintain a simple task as in watering the plant. Because those basic things are needed for you to maintain it. It's not gonna grow any bigger if you do not do that basic care. And that's the thing. You deserve the same care that you show to anyone else. Because you do. And something I would like you also to consider, quite often on even our self-care checklists, we put a lot of things, and I am guilty as charged myself. So quick story there. I do have my morning routine, and I do have my things that I would like to do, like say, I don't know, lymphatic exercising, meditation, and my breath work exercising. I like to have them done, and there are some other bits and pieces. However, sometimes I would also follow into the pattern. If I can't do them all, I feel like I haven't done anything. So what did I do this week? If you have seen my intention setting, I set one intention for this week. That for this week, all 7 days, I would like to reduce my coffees from 2 to 1, because for me it's a big impact. And what has that given me? Me feeling that I'm accomplishing that task gives me that boost. I'm acknowledging myself. And what has been happening? I actually have been going to bed earlier, waking up earlier, adding a little bit things into my routine. But what has been super helpful, and not just this week, but even in the past, and why I keep saying that, start small. Celebrate your one task that you have done for yourself. Same applies, things that we do for ourselves would expand towards other people naturally. So this is my invitation to you. If you feel like, well, I need to have all these things done in order for me to feel that I can acknowledge myself, can you reduce it a little bit? I used again an analogy with a client, and imagine a calendar when in the past we sometimes would mark a calendar, tick, tick, tick. So imagine if I would set it for this week, that in order for me to feel that I have accomplished something, I would have my task of 5. But instead, if I give myself that permission to start with one thing, I am ticking it off. I'm ticking it off, and as a result, I feel good. I have more energy, and then I am able to meet some of the other tasks as well. Some days I didn't. Like this morning, I could only do certain things, maybe only half of what I wanted to do. But that's okay, because in the back of my mind, I can see and feel those green ticks for the rest of the day, including today. So what I would like to share with you right now is a very simple question to ask yourself today and maybe daily. What did I do today that deserves to be acknowledged, no matter how small? Not achievements, but just showing up. Maybe something for yourself. And I absolutely encourage you to make it something for yourself. I had shared with a few times online already, but I'm going to repeat it again. One of the best things that has worked for me, and I still have it on my phone, is my reminder that goes off every evening about, well, right now it's 8:26 because 2026, so I change it every year by 1 minute. And it's asking me essentially that. It's asking me, it's in my language, in Russian, but it's like, well, what can I acknowledge myself for? What did I do well? And you know what, some days maybe I don't stop and answer. However, it comes up, and I already, because after many years now, it's there. And I don't need to look anymore. If somebody asks me these days, what can you acknowledge yourself for? I'll tell you straight away. If I ask my clients in a session, and I ask my clients in every single session, this is how I would finish the session, what can you acknowledge yourself for today? or what would you like to acknowledge yourself for today? And if they cannot answer, I already have my own list for them. It's a practice. It's a practice, and the benefit of it is that emotional money in a bank, in your emotional bank. So let's all try to stop leaving that money on the table. It's there for you to take. You're already doing things. Just allow yourself to acknowledge yourself for. So right now, whether you would like to do it, just drop in a comment on the video, or if you want to communicate it to me in some ways, or if you just want to record it for yourself somewhere. What would you like to acknowledge yourself for today? And if you need a little bit of assistance with that in terms of celebrating your tiny wins for you, as always, I'm always here if you would like to, if you would like some assistance. I have this self-care fuel tracker that I have mentioned in the past, but if you are just listening to me for the first time, I'm more than happy to share it with you. The whole idea behind it is small things. Pick a thing, pick one small thing, track yourself for 7 days. You can start today. And then just see, because you can write one thing, or you can start noticing. The beautiful thing about acknowledgement is because you start to notice those bonus points everywhere. And believe me, it's absolutely worth it. So I am inviting you to just do a little exercise with me right now. Maybe thinking about that one thing that you would like to acknowledge yourself for today. And if it's comfortable, then placing a hand on your heart, whether you have your eyes open or closed. And I just invite you to send that energy from your heart towards yourself, even if it's just a little bit. And if it's a bit tricky to say, I acknowledge myself, I just invite you to say, thank you. And to give you an example, how can I acknowledge myself today? I acknowledge myself today for prioritizing tasks during the day. One of my kids had to stay home sick today, which created some tweaks to the schedule. And I am acknowledging myself for doing it smoothly with kindness, but also taking responsibility for things that need to be done. I would love to hear your feedback. If you found this video helpful, what is something that you would like to acknowledge yourself today? If you would like a little bit of assistance, if that has sparked some questions that you would like to have a separate discussion on, I'm always there. Please send me a DM. And I want to wish you a fantastic Thursday. Thank you for listening and tuning in.